What if you could build a business that gives you the life of freedom you deserve? What if you could find the secrets to marketing, leadership, customer service, and other aspects of business that help you exceed your goals? What if you could walk away from your business for 30 days and it never misses a beat? That's what this podcast is for, to help business leaders like you find freedom from the day-to-day grind and start spending your time doing the things you love. I'm Levi McClendon, and my co-host is Josh Taylor, and this is the Cheers to Freedom podcast.
Hey, welcome to the Cheers to Freedom podcast. I am your host, Josh Taylor. I'm with my co-host, Levi McClendon. Levi, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's the end of 2024. We've had a great year. We want to talk a little bit about that today, and also some successes from some of our customers and what that means for our other customers, and just a lot of exciting things that are happening. But it's been a good year.
It's been a really fast year, Josh. I cannot believe that we are, and I know it's very cliche. It's like, time goes by faster the older you get, but I don't think it's really cliche. It literally is true. So yeah,
really
it's pretty
happens.
nuts. We've had an amazing year. It's gone by very, very fast, and we got to prep and plan for 2025. So let's go.
Yeah, so we had an amazing year. Lots of growth, lots of new launches and products and things that we're going to be talking more about here in the coming weeks. But yeah, some of that growth that we talked about had to do with very strategic things that I kind of want to get into with just goals. Like we learned how to really identify the goals that we wanted to achieve, and then how to reverse engineer those to actually achieve them. And I would say that this has been, every year has kind of been a growth year and a record year for us, but this has really been, I think, a defining year for Opspot. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we got real clear, early on this year in 2024 about kind of what the end goal is going to be. I think before that, Josh, I went back and I read some of the things that I'd written down for years prior, which was really to optimize, right? Like dial some things in and make sure we were, providing the right services and doing the right things. And so it was really fun this year to really start, pouring on the fuel and starting to grow and really see the growth. And I'll tell you, the one big thing that we came out with, and I know this isn't part of what we're going to talk about, but I started thinking about, for many, many years, we talked about the things, hey, this will work. If you do this will work, blah, blah, blah. A lot of our customers were like, well, that's awesome, but can you show us that it's working? What does that look like? And it was pretty awesome that we were able to come out with a new dashboard this year, the hub that shows the analytics, shows the number, shows the return, shows the value of a mobile number. It's tracking the journey of a customer from top of funnel to bottom of funnel. And I think the most rewarding thing for us, Josh, is really just proving that everything that we said is true really is true. And, it's more than just a feeling, right? It's more than just we think this is going to happen. And so that was really exciting for us. I think that really helped move the needle, and it gives you a lot of confidence. It gives our clients a lot of confidence in what we're doing is working and helping them grow their business.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because just yesterday I had a meeting with one of our customers, and he's been with us. He's probably like one of our first 5 customers that we had signed up a long time ago. And so he wanted to meet just because he had kind of stepped away, just been less involved in the business this year with just a lot of things going on with his family. His kids are at that age where they're doing a lot of travel ball and stuff like that. And so he has a really great general manager that really runs things for him. And so he's kind of stepped back, and now he attended the summit, and now he's wanting to kind of step back in, pay attention to some things. So he said, hey, I want to meet just to see what are some things that we need to be doing different, because I feel like we've kind of been doing the same thing for the last 5 or 6 years, and wanted just to see, are there some things that we can do better? Are the things that we're doing working? And most of it was just basically going on gut feeling. So we jumped into his dashboard yesterday and looked at all of the numbers, and I was able to say, well, look, there are some things that we can tweak, but honestly, based on what I'm seeing here, based on looking at the analytics for your website, what you're doing is working. Like, there are things that we can take it to level up where you are, but I would say you're in the top 10 of our customers right now. And so I wouldn't make a lot of changes, because you don't want to fix what's not broken. But there are some tweaks that we can make, because he was ready to kind of overhaul the website and do some different things, just because he figured, well, that's what you do after a few years.
Right.
And I just told him, look, I wouldn't make those drastic changes yet. Let's make a few of these tweaks and see how they perform before we start making some really big changes, because we're really just trying to move the needle up but we're
Yeah.
not. I mean, we're doing great. Like what you're doing really is working.
Well, you're probably able to see those analytics, right, Josh? Now that you were able to look into there, look at the dashboard and see, hey, look, this is actually working. And so don't fix what's not broken, which
Yeah,
makes sense.
he's got a big text list. He's got 3 locations. His text list has grown. He's made a ton of money. His lifetime value was just crazy high. His average months a member was almost 40. Which is really great. I've never seen it that high before. And so I just told him,
Wow.
and he felt all that. Like he said, yeah,
Wow.
looking at these feel right. Like I didn't feel like he said, we're doing really well. Like I was able to step away from the business for most of the year and we
Yeah.
didn't skip
That's
a
awesome.
beat. I'm just ready to take it to the next level. And, but he had just never really stopped to look at those numbers to say,
Hmm.
holy crap,
Yeah.
we're doing great. Let's not make a bunch of
Yeah.
crazy big
Well,
changes.
Josh, we talk about gap in the gain. I mean, that is the gain. A lot of us live in the gap and like, hey, what's next? What do we need to change? What does that look like? And so, if you're listening to this and have not read Gap in the Gain, we highly recommend reading that because it does have you go look in the gain and say, where did we start? Where are we today? And we've made a lot of progress. And so,
Yeah.
I think that's really good.
So with that being said, there's a few things that I want to talk about today. I want to talk about some of the successes that our customers have and talk about why they're succeeding. And then, there's some end of the year stuff that I want to talk about with you because you gave a great challenge to our team earlier this week about just adopting a word for this upcoming year and just kind of goal setting and what does the next year look like and being more intentional. So I want to talk about that too. But let's talk about some of these successes that a couple of our customers had because it came down to, I think, shifting in a mindset. And it's about building this text club. And a lot of the people that are listening, they probably struggle with some of this. I'm going to be really careful about how I say this because I did get blasted on this earlier. But we worry about using a free wash to build a text club, and because there are going to be some people that come in and take advantage of it, and there always will be. There's going to be those outliers, those grifters is what one person I heard call them. But it works because it's building that text club, and what's going to happen is if you use your text club correctly, you are going to make far more money on your text club than you will lose on those 10% of the people or less that are trying to take advantage of what you're offering. It is this mindset shift of not just looking at what's the negative stuff that's happening, but
Yeah.
is that okay because of what we're going to gain on the other end of this?
Yeah. Absolutely. Somebody told me a long time ago, we were looking at making a decision and they said, listen, you're stepping over dollars to save pennies. And that's always stuck with me. And I think you're doing the same thing. And to me, it's more of kind of a, not an abundance mindset, but more of, what am I looking for? Scarcity.
Yeah, scarcity.
Yeah, scarcity mind. I don't know why I drew a blank there, but to me that is more of a scarcity mindset when we are trying to hold on too tightly. We're not allowing the abundance to come. We're getting caught up on and tripped up by the little things, and we're not seeing the future, right? So we literally are stepping over those dollars. It's like stop stepping over dollars, stop worrying about the little things, have the abundance mindset. And so today, I think when we talk about some of these, Josh, I'm hoping that the perspective, the perception that you have for those listening is like, hey, I'm not going to worry so much about these little things, but let's go really big in these areas that will far outweigh the small dollars that we're giving up to get to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, it comes down to building a great text list and then utilizing that text list appropriately. Anybody can. Somebody posted on Talk Car Wash Facebook group yesterday asking, what are some great texting services? And my response to him was, look, there's a lot of great texting services out there, but a texting service is not going to make you money. It's what you do with your text list once you have it. And that's where Opspot steps in and says, we're not only going to help you build a great text list, we're going to help you leverage that text list to make a ton of money because what you do with it is what matters. And so we've got a few success stories here that I want to talk about. One of them, I love this one, and we're not going to name some of these names really because we haven't asked them for permission to name them. But this one wash, the general manager that works for them, she's such a big Opspot fan now that she's seen what it's been able to do for her business. But before working with us in 2024, they worked the first 6 months without us. They started building their text list, but they didn't really know what to do with it. And in those first 6 months, they sold 276 memberships online. And then they started working with us in May. We doubled down on really building their text club, building a strong text club, set them up with the right tools under the Freedom package to where they could sell, do a lot of these memberships and things online, and using their text club to sell these things. And in the second half, so they went from selling 276 memberships online, 2,404 memberships the second half of the year.
Wow.
And really because we helped them unlock the power of e-commerce and really not only grow their text list, but utilize that text list. Really what Zach says, you got to work that list.
Yeah. Josh, and real quick, I want to make a point for those listening. This isn't just to tout Opspot and, hey, this is what we're doing, or share with you, hey, this customer, is amazing and they did this. What this is about is getting you to think this year. I want you to think about 2025 and say, out of these things we're going to tell you right now, what's maybe the one thing, and that's what we talked about on our team call the other day. What is something we are going to implement this year? So one of these are going to resonate with you. So whether it's online memberships, and we'll get into some of these other things that worked, we just want to share with you things that have worked. And it may not work for you, may not be in your same demographic. It may not be something that strikes a nerve with you. Hopefully one of these will, Josh, but that's what this is about, is really sharing some success stories so that something will resonate, so that you're going to grab onto that and you can implement this for 2025.
Absolutely. There's another wash that just recently opened, and they signed up with us late, so we didn't get to do a whole go-to-market strategy with them, with a founders club and all that stuff, but we did help them build their text list before they opened. We were at least able to start a few weeks early. So I do think the numbers that I'm about to tell you could have been a lot stronger had they started getting things going about 4 or 5 months ahead of time. But just, being able to kind of jump in last minute and help them with this, their first 8 days that they were open, they washed 3,200 cars. And by the end of the first week, they had 600 new members signed up at their wash, which I think is just
that's awesome.
And it could have been better, but they were extremely happy. I mean, they were ecstatic just getting started a few weeks before they opened to get this going. And we know how difficult it is to open a wash, and it's never the date that you think it's going to be, and things, there's just so much stresses to it. And this was a stress that they were able to take off because they were able to get people to the wash, let people know they were open because they had this text list. And then they were able to follow up with those people to get them to join as members. And they had 600 new members by the end of that first week that they were open, which is awesome.
That is awesome, Josh. I think these go-to-markets, guys that are opening washes out there, this list isn't just about the memberships you will sign in a prior to even opening, but imagine building a list, sending out that message the day that you're open, telling them to share that message with their friends and family. Get as many people to your wash as you can, because when you have the excitement, when you show lines in the drive-through of a car wash, that attracts other people. And so when you can fill fill your lines, and there's people see it. Like if you open and nobody's there, nobody's going to care. Believe it or not, that attracts people to get in the same line, because it means there's something good going on. And so, man, if you can build that list early on to open, and then promote that and tell people to share that and build just the excitement around opening your wash, you're going to absolutely crush it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just about memberships. There's not everybody wants to become a member. So there's a way to utilize, I can't say the word, it's a hard one. Utilize your text list to sell wash books and retail washes and gift cards and all of these things. So there was one wash that we have that we work with that has a really great story. They were always selling memberships. Like that's all they really tried to sell, which I think is where most car washes are. They're just that membership is kind of the thing. So their mindset is always, we got to sell memberships. Well, one, not everybody wants a membership. And two, it's not always the right time to sell memberships, depending on the seasonality and what's happening in your community. And so we were able to help this one wash shift from just always selling memberships to looking at where they were in the season of the year, and they sold wash books for 5 days. And for 5 days, they had 350 purchases of wash books, and they made over $28,000 just selling wash books online. using the tools that they had in the Freedom package, which it blew their mind. They didn't even think about the idea of being able to do that online, making the purchase super easy for their customers, and making over $28,000 in 5 days just through their text list to make wash book purchases.
Well, ultimately, when you're selling online and you're having people commit to a future date of washing their car, that's loyalty. You're keeping people, whether, and you talk about a loyalty program, which we'll probably talk about because that's another one that a lot of our customers did, is implemented loyalty. Early on, Josh, a membership program was considered loyalty, right? Like, hey, convert them over to a membership, and that is our loyalty program. They didn't want to cannibalize and say, well, if we're offering loyalty to non-members, we're not going to sell as many memberships. I think that mindset has to change. I think you say, yes, those who want to be a member, yeah, you're members, that's awesome. But you still need to offer things like wash books, things that are going to create that retention and that loyalty so that as competition comes in, or if you have them, that you've made the decision easy for them. If I go to location A, I get a loyalty point, and or I've purchased my washes for this year, I'm going to this place. So we have to start thinking about what is going to keep your customers more loyal and more sticky to you than somebody else. And that's just an excellent example of how to utilize that database, right? That massive text list to sell those online. And really, you're presetting your loyalty of your customers.
Well, and that loyalty translates into the more we can get them to and train them to start washing their car more, the more they see the value in becoming a member. Like, oh, you know what? I'm coming in. I'm showing up twice a month now, where I was coming every other month, once a month. And so we're training them to wash more so that they
Yes.
eventually say, you know what? Maybe I should become a member. I've really enjoyed washing my car and utilizing this. So all of those things work in intentionality to build that loyalty with your customer, but also to help them and remind them of the value that they continue to get from you. We had 2 customers that set a goal for this season to sell $40,000 worth of gift cards. And so we helped set them up online, and both of them exceeded that goal this season to sell. And they sold over $40,000 of gift cards online using their text club.
That's
And
awesome.
it's massive. And that's such a game changer for small businesses. I mean, an extra $40,000 that you weren't doing the previous year, just selling gift cards through your text club is, I mean, that is the power of building a list and not worrying about who's screwing you.
Yeah.
It's more worried about how can you leverage
Yes.
this list, because you
Yeah.
stand to gain
Right.
more than you
Much
lose
more.
if you do it
Much
right.
more. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we haven't even talked about breakage there, Josh, and we'll get more into that this year as we learn, right? You sell those, or you pre-sell those. Not that you don't want people coming in, but the reality is not everybody is. So you're making money, right, to the bottom line, and they may not even come and utilize that. And so we'll find out the percentages, and we'll get back to you on that later, probably in 2025, once we be able, because we're able to measure that, which would be pretty cool.
Well, and the point of all of this is to really get into what we want to talk about next, of what 2025 looks like for those that are listening. How do you become intentional about making this the absolute best year in business yet?
Mhm.
And for a lot of our customers, 2024 was their best year in business. For some of them, it was a tough year. And I think it all comes down to, how intentional are you about the goals and achieving those goals and casting a vision, not only for yourself, but for the team and the people that work with you?
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. I think that as we, ourselves, as we roll into 2025, and I think as whoever's listening right now, we've mentioned already several things. We haven't really even talked about the fundraising and the one-click upsells that we just rolled out, which is very, very powerful. But I think you have to go and look and say, hey, where are we today as a company? Do we need to focus on, what is it? Is it building that massive list? Like, if you're listening right now and you don't have a massive list, that's like number one. Like, you've got to figure out, and you have to be from our funnels, right? Our 3 marketing funnels: on-site, off-site, and online. What does that look like to continue to build those? But is it the, building that list? Is it growing the memberships? And I love what you just said there about this other customer. It doesn't always have to be about memberships. And I know we preach that over and over again, because everybody, that's what you wanted to do the last several years. But when you feel like you have, not that you have saturation, but when you start getting to that level, you got to start thinking about those retail customers. And so whatever that is, and it could be per location. Every location is going to be different, has to be clearly communicated. And then you have to put those plans in place and then go for it.
Well, and we don't want to just sell one product to people, like, oh, we're just going to push memberships to them. But memberships, if you can get people used to buying from you, it's easier to start selling them other products. So if you can make an easy purchase of, maybe it's just a single wash, and then maybe it's a gift card, and then maybe it's a set of wash books, whatever it is, you can move them up that ladder rather than just taking them to the top of the ladder after they've just gotten a free wash from you. Like, I just got something for you for free, and now you want me to commit to 30 or 40 bucks a month.
Right.
Not everybody is ready for that. So don't leave out everybody in between.
Yeah.
Because that to me, it's just leaving, thousands of dollars on the table.
Yeah, and what's interesting, Josh, is from the statistics that we're now tracking and looking at, it really surprised me that the time it takes to convert somebody to a member is longer than I actually expected. And it's because of that reason. I think that we all think, oh, they're going to come in, and they come in one time and I'm going to sign up for membership. Again, you're asking somebody to go from 4 to 6 times a year to 24 times a year for it to make sense for them. That is a big ask. So that's where you have to have a strategy to get them to come in, to date them before you actually have them marry you. Use that analogy a lot. And I think that is super important. Build trust, build that habit, have people coming back in and doing all of that. And we haven't talked about this with even that unreasonable hospitality. Like, if you want to differentiate yourself, and that's something, Josh, you rolled out at the Freedom Summit with your new certification there, that is amazing. Like, what are those touch points? What are the things that are going to actually move the needle this year that are going to help you be what we're calling best in class? What is going to get you to that level? Where are your reviews today? We've talked about that, and we've harped about, Yelp reviews and Google reviews. A lot of you love the Google reviews. What about the Yelp reviews? I know y'all hate Yelp, but you need to deal with it. And this year may be that year that you say, listen, if I'm on Apple Maps and I look up a car wash near me, I want to be on the top of Yelp. I know that sounds far-fetched, but it's happening, and we've seen it happen with customers that we've helped them move the needle. So that could be a huge, lead indicator of where are you to get to best in class, to be the best in your space. When you're dealing with competition, you've got to be better than everybody else around you. And that starts with your reputation, which comes from other people. So that's really important. Sorry to get going down that path, but that is really important, I think, that customers sometimes overlook.
Yeah. Well, I want to look at a couple of things that, just look at this year, both, personally and professionally. And I think this was probably a defining year for me personally, being able to achieve a goal that I've set before, but just never was able to do it, and lost a lot of weight. I lost 50 pounds. Never thought I would be able to do that. But I set a goal. I was serious about the goal, and I brought people along on the journey. And you were there as a supporter and a cheerleader and just cheering me on the whole time. I had my friend Don, who was doing it with me because we had similar goals and trying to hit the same weights. And we were kind of around the same spot and what we were trying to lose. So, and I think that's important. It's important to have people on the journey with you. And it's important to have people that are cheering you on and getting excited about your goals and the milestones every time you hit them. And so it was a defining year for me to be able to do that. I was clear about the goal that I wanted, and I brought people along on the journey with me to do it. And you got to kind of say those things out loud to do that and get people holding you accountable that are serious and want the best for you. So, and I think it was the same with our business. We set some serious goals this time last year, a little earlier, of what 2024 was going to look like. And we hit, I think, every single one of them. And, some of them, it was coming down to the wire, but we still hit them. And even if we didn't, we got really, really close to them, which is game changing for our business. And it was because we got clear about our goals and we worked together to achieve them and get them done. So I just want, from your perspective, what did that look like in your mind as the leader of our business and just who you are in general, just the type of person that you are? What did that look like and feel like for you? And what was kind of in your mind as we were setting these things up? Because you gave a great challenge to our team on Tuesday about this idea of a one word. And you and Jenny do this every year. And you kind of shared that this time with our team this time last year. And then again this year.
Yeah, I think it starts always personally for me, Josh. It's kind of like, where am I at personally? What does that look like? And you just said, personally with your weight, we have a personal kind of side of our life, and then we have the professional. And everyone knows this. I don't know what I don't know. And wisdom, last year, my personal word was wisdom. Okay. And so every year we have a word. My wife comes up with a word. I come up with a word. And part of wisdom for me, there's the personal side of it, but there's also the professional side for me. And wisdom is found in those who take advice. Okay. And then there's a lot of counsel. I've been reading Proverbs a lot for wisdom. And this last year and even the year before, it's been about a year and a half actually, but wisdom was just something I really pursued last year. And what you find is that I don't know everything. And so in order for us to get to that next level, that was really big for me to say, what do we need to do to get to that next level? Prior to that, we were really honed in on, we had purchased Watch More Media. Stacy had come on board. We were really just trying to optimize and figure ourselves out. And what does that look like? So we were in a different, stage as a company. And so going into last year, man, I just felt like we had a really good, we were really cranking. We had a new vision with the Freedom package that we rolled out. But I also knew that I couldn't do it on my own. And I had to really go outside of our company even and say, what is going to help us get to that next level? And it really was putting in the proper systems. And it was, we talk about EOS. And for me, that was really big. And so it was going out and saying, well, EOS is an entrepreneurial operating system that we implemented early on. And it helped us get very streamlined, very clear. What is our 10-year? What is our 3-year? What is our 1 year? How do we break this down and reverse engineer this down to our quarterly, which breaks down to weekly? And so for us, that's what worked really well. So every single week we have been meeting. We call it it's called an L10. It's a level 10 meetings that our C-suite gets together every single week to make sure that we're on track so that we hit those quarterly rocks, that hits that 1 year goal, that gets to our 3-year target, that overall hits our 10-year vision. And now it's coming down to 9 years because we're about to, in February, that'll be our first year. And we only hit those, Josh, because we were laser focused and we were clear about that. But for me, like I said, it was about, and still is, I'm working. You and I had this conversation the other day. I'm just working on being a better listener, taking more advice. I don't know. I've never been there before. So that's why it's like, what are the things? And I talk about a hinge. Small hinges move big doors. What are the hinges? What are the things that are going to move that big door? And that could even be your third-party vendors. It can be, I hope Opspot is a small hinge to move a big door for you. And that's what we have to look at. What are the small hinges that we do that make a big impact? And that was one that we had for 2024. Moving into 2025, going into that word, I challenged our team, like Josh said the other day, and said, what is the one word that is going to make a difference in your life, really personally, right? Like, what is that one thing that you want to have an anchor, you want to have a trigger that every time I talked about having an anchor or a trigger. So let's say you're going to get a cup of coffee. And right now you said, okay, every time I get a cup of coffee, because I pretty much drink coffee all day long, while I do that, I need to think, I get a cup of coffee, what is my word this year? Make sure I'm on track. Or if it's like, you want to get in better shape. I used to do this. I literally, every time I'd get a cup of coffee, I would do push-ups. And it was like, I have to do push-ups before I can actually drink that
Knowing
coffee.
How much coffee you drink, you probably did a lot of push-ups.
I did a lot of push-ups, but that was kind of the, again, that was my anchor or my trigger that made me do that. So I would recommend, again, both personally and professionally. For us, I'm just going to share this out loud. Josh just said, I came along for the ride. He brought me along for the ride in his goal to lose weight. And it was really good because he I'll just tell you, he dinked around a little bit in the beginning. He's like, I don't really, I don't know if I can. I want to do this. I'm like, dude, then do it. Like, freaking get on, let's go. If you want to do it, I'll do it with you. Write it down, have accountability, and let's go. Let's just not kind of, tiptoe around this thing. And I think when you get serious and you put it out there, and you say, I'm doing this, like Josh just said, you want that accountability, you want that partnership, and you want people to come along with you. And so for us, for Opspot, and you're going to hear us next year talk about it a lot, it's best in class. And best in class is means in many areas, but it's your people, your processes, your customers, everything that we do. I want our company to be the best. I want us to be best in class in everything, from prospecting to signing up to onboarding to ongoing communication, consulting with our clients, to getting them to their life of freedom. And so that's really resonates with me this year, to say, what is that? And that doesn't mean, so much the bottom line. The bottom line is going to come, right? That's just a byproduct of actually putting value to our company. So I want to bring value, the right people, again, the right processes. What does that look like overall, so that we bring the best for everybody that we're impacting? That will affect our bottom line. So that is our challenge. That's our challenge to our company this year. But along the way, I do have my word. I have my one word for 2025 for me, and I'm excited about that, and I'm ready to roll. So that would be our challenge to you guys as well. I would challenge you both personally and professionally. Like, find out where you're at as a company, where you need to be in 2025, hone that in, bring your team on board, share that with them, make sure everybody is aligned together, set those goals, write them down, and have accountability, both professionally and then personally.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that if you do that, you're intentional about it, 2025 is going to be a great year. And I absolutely believe that. You know, if we're intentional about the goals that we set, and I love the way that Michael Hyatt kind of sets these goals up, and he uses the acronym SMARTER. You know, we've heard of SMART goals. He adds 2 letters to it, and I'll just read those quickly as we wrap it up. But he says SMARTER goals are specific, they're measurable, so you got to know, you got to be able to track and measure what the goal is going to be, and you got to know when the win is a win. They're actionable, so they tell you what you're going to do to reach that goal. They're risky, so they're big goals. They're time keyed. You've got to have a deadline on them. If there's no urgency, you're not going to get it done. They've got to be exciting. You know, what's going to get you out of bed every morning, and then they've got to be relevant. You know, ensure that the goal is pertinent to the overall objectives and values that you have for your business or your personal life. So SMARTER goals are specific, measurable, actionable, risky, time keyed, exciting, and relevant. And if you can set some goals that align in those parameters for 2025, and like Levi said, reverse engineer them. Okay, if this is our goal, if we're going to get, 5,000 new members by the end of the year, okay, well, what does that mean for every month or every quarter, and then every month, and then every week as you're meeting with the leaders in your team? How are we on track, and where do we need to make up ground so that when December comes around, it's not all of a sudden like, oh man, we're never going to achieve our goal. We've already hit it, or we're almost there, and by the end of the year we're going to hit it because we've been keeping up with it, and we knew what the goal was, we knew what the win was, and we knew what we had to do to get there. And then finding that one word. What is that one word for your personal life? What is that one word for your business? And then how are you going to remind yourself every single day of that one word so that you can stay laser focused, as Levi said? 2025 is going to be awesome.
2025 is going to be just an amazing year for everybody. We're excited for you guys. I just want to recap, Josh, some of the ideas as you're thinking through and listening to this podcast. Some of the things that are out there. Number one, build massive, if you haven't done it, build that massive list, right? That's an option. Online sales, right? Make sure you get in your online sales. Again, if this resonates with you, doing your flash sales, doing your gift card potentially sales. Maybe it's fundraising, getting involved in that local store marketing. Maybe it's unreasonable hospitality, and that's resonated with you and your touch points where people are coming in and you want to be like us. You want to be best in class, right? Like that is your goal. What's another one, Josh, that we
fundraisers.
What is it? Oh, the fundraisers.
Yeah,
I think that's a local store fundraisers, the one-click upsell, loyalty programs, referral programs.
Selling retail washes online. We can help with all of these things very easily.
Yeah. So if any of those have resonated, I just wanted to kind of recap some of those things that we've been able to help our customers do. So think through those as you get set for 2025. Get with your account manager and say, hey, and have them help you stay accountable to that, and not do 10 of those things, but stick to the things that are going to move the needle for you guys this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome. Great year. Great 2024. Looking forward to 2025. Looking forward to more podcast episodes and being more consistent in 2025. We had some big goals. We achieved those goals, but it kept us busy. But we've made some strategic changes even over the last several weeks so that you and I can be more consistent in creating this kind of content and just being of more service to our customers. That's what we want, is to continue to add value. Not if you're listening to this and you're not an Opspot customer, we still want to add value to you as well, and just help you guys grow and be successful. That's what we want. We want you to be successful so that you can do good things in the world. And
absolutely,
we want to help good people win. So
yeah, that's our favorite thing to do. Hey, make sure to text cheers to 411-365 if you have not done so already. So text the word cheers to 411-365. Make sure to subscribe and follow us. And we'll try to do a better job. I didn't set we need to set a goal, Josh, so that we're accountable. I'm going to try to do more podcasts this year, but we have a lot of cool things coming too, like our quarterlies and different things that we're planning. So just expect some good surprises coming out for 2025. But again, make sure to share this and follow us. We certainly appreciate it. We get some pretty good feedback on these. So we want to do a better job with these as well. That needs to be a goal you and I will talk about later.
We'll talk about it, and then on the first episode of 2025, we'll tell you guys what our goal is so that you can hold us accountable.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
Cool. All right, man. Hey, good to see you. Have a great Christmas, Josh. Till next time, buddy.
Cheers.
We'll see you. Cheers.